One of the exciting new AI technologies these days is ChatGPT. It's built as a smart chatbot, which means that you can have a text-based conversation with it on a computer screen. What makes ChatGPT amazing is that the way that it responds in terms of text really is like you are communicating with an intelligent, well-educated adult. And it can do so in multiple languages, which is also amazing in itself. Many people in an area of subfield of AI called natural language processing have been chasing after the dream of being able to have a conversation with a computer that's very lifelike, like you're talking to somebody that you know. And recently, it looks like we have reached that stage where effectively a computer can have a conversation that is so human-like that for most intents and purposes, it is like you're having a conversation with a person. Now, ChatGPT can do a lot of things. You can, for example, prompt it to write a Shakespearean sonnet about, let's say, Ann Arbor weather, or you could ask it to write a research paper about a particular topic. You could ask it to look up, to basically write a short biography of me or you or somebody else. In many cases, it will get a lot of that correct. People have found that actually it also hallucinates things. It makes a lot of errors of certain kinds. But in general, it's hard to detect those errors unless you're really looking for them, unless you're really trying to trip it up. One of the kinds of errors it makes, for example, fairly consistently is that you can ask it to write a sentence that ends with, let's say, the letter Z. And it will write a sentence, but it doesn't end with a letter Z. And then what's really interesting about it is you can then say, well, hey, that doesn't end with a letter Z. And you'll say, oh, I'm sorry. I'm artificial intelligence. I don't always get everything correct. You're right. That sentence ends with a letter S. But let's try it again. And then so you ask it to try it again, and it'll still not get it right. So there are these funny little quirks that seem very weird. In the news, there have been stories about how if you have an extended conversation with ChatGPT, you can often corner it into suddenly becoming very aggressive or wanting to ask you to part with your spouse, all kinds of things like that. And they're definitely very strange. I think of those kinds of instances as issues where the large amount of training data that ChatGPT uses probably has aspects of the kind of conversations that it ultimately reveals. What's interesting about ChatGPT is that really what's interesting is that they decided to make it public so that pretty much anybody on the internet can try it out. You can go online, make an account for yourself, and actually try to have conversations with ChatGPT, challenge it to do different kinds of things. But there are lots of other artificial intelligence technologies out there that are at least as sophisticated. And in some ways, ChatGPT is representative of the current state of the art in AI. But for example, Google has a system that's probably very similar to it known as Lambda, which it hasn't yet fully released to the public. They've come out with something called Bard, which is meant to help with online searches and so on. And then putting aside text, there are also systems now like DALL-E and Midjourney where you can prompt the system to create imagery that is new and original, but which responds to the kind of images that you would like to see. So there's a range of areas in which AI is now doing extremely well, often rivaling, if not exceeding, human capability.